Something that is part of the hospice program is really to discuss death and dying and the feelings associated with grief and the other emotions that they're going to feel. And I talk about that beforehand. So when I do my consultation and we sit down and have this 2-hour conversation, which is a long conversation, but it flies by, I talk about what the end is going to look like. Because I am mobile, it means as you said, I'm going into people's homes. I actually don't work out of a clinic anymore. How they get up to go and get a drink of water, where they need to go out to go to the bathroom, where they sleep, where they eat. All of those things are important because I want to make sure they can continue doing them. Just being in their home really allows me to see how they move around and what their normal behavior is, and I can assess them very well. Sometimes I'm doing more talking as a therapist than an actual veterinarian, but I have that background, so it's helpful. The way that I look at it is that there often is not one specific moment that a pet should be euthanized. And so I look at it on a scale. And so there's a part where it's clearly too early. And so regardless of the pet's age, if they are happy, if they're eating well, if they're playful, if they interact with the family, if they're sleeping well, they're not dealing with a terrible disease that is causing a lot of difficulty for them at that time, they're not in pain. So in that time, they are still fine. Clearly it's too early to euthanize. At the other end of this scale is perhaps they've waited too long. Somewhere in the middle is this gray zone. And that is the time where it is acceptable to euthanize. And so it, again, is not necessarily one day. It could be a span of weeks or perhaps even months where it's an acceptable time to euthanize. I am there to offer guidance and support and information, but I want them to make the decision with my guidance and my support and the guidance and support of their veterinarian as well. I went to school for 7 years to become a veterinarian. I love pets. My goal was to save them. But my thoughts have changed now, and I really want to ensure that the pet has a good death and the owner's experience with their pet's death is a good one as well. And I try to make it beautiful for them, and I want it to be memorable, and I want them to embrace that moment. And I don't want to leave them scarred and afraid to have another pet for the rest of their life. There's a saying that my friend, who is a colleague in the United States, she's a hospice veterinarian as well, she will say, just because we can doesn't mean we should. And she says that to clients often because sometimes the guilt is what drives people to say, well, maybe we should just do, this extra test, and maybe we should do x-rays, and maybe we should do the surgery. And when we're talking about a 14-year-old golden retriever, I don't know that is necessarily in the best interest of the pet or the family for that matter. Yeah. These are long conversations to have with your veterinarian or hospice veterinarian about what is best, not what's right, but what is best for the family and for the pet.